Hey, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and today we're going to be talking about Battlerite. So I am just going to be kind of rambling this review out here because it seems like no matter how I do a review, you guys always got some issues with what I got to say. So I'm just going to say it. You know, I'm not going to script this. I'm not going to make it pretty. I'm just going to show you gameplay as I played it, as honestly as I can. Hopefully it's exemplary. If you do think so, please let me know. But I'm also going to tell you my thoughts, my insight into the game. So immediately, how long have I played Battlerite? I have 22 hours. I've watched a good bit of it as well. Some tournaments or, you know, some bunny ears tournaments. Though they do actually, I believe they're having monthly tournaments, like legitimate paid tournaments. So this game is actually pretty serious. And I have watched a lot of that. I've watched a lot of streamers and I've been talking about it with people in the Discord. Links in the description, by the way, if you want to join our Discord. And we've all been kind of playing together, having fun, having a blast, I think. But of course, there's going to be some issues. That's what this is. Pros, cons, all that good stuff, and just overall my experience of 22 hours, also playing ranked. Currently, I'm like Silver 3, and that is where I'm going to start this video. What is Battlerite? One, it is a brawler. I don't know if that's like a technical genre name, but if you look at games similar to this, they always have like brawler in the description somewhere, so that's just what I'm going to call this game. It's not quite a MOBA. You don't have any RPG aspects to the game, and you don't have lanes or minions. It doesn't really resemble Dota in any way. So, I mean, you could probably call it a MOBA, but in the end, I feel like it's really something different. It's really in between MOBA and fighting game. In fact, you might even be able to debatably call it a top-down fighting game. But in saying that, it is a competitive game. First and foremost, like, there is no PvE mode. There is like really a giant emphasis on the competitive nature of the game. Like I said, monthly tournaments with payouts and all that good stuff. So this is still probably most likely, not only is it a weird genre, being a brawler, but it's going to be niche also because it's going to be competitive. Generally, competitive games that are like in wholly unique genres, you know, like a lot of arena shooters and some RTSs, they tend not to have a big population, but Battlerite actually launched with a big population. So comparing it to stuff like For Honor and maybe like Absolver, I think Battlerite is going to keep a player population that's actually pretty healthy. So yeah, if you're worried about that, you know, you saw some reviews of Absolver, population completely died off, or some other games like Archblade, you guys remember that game? And a few others. I think that Battlerite is going to be here to stay, and I think it's going to keep as big of a population as it possibly can, especially being free to play. It is a fun game, and I think it's going to outlive a lot of games, like a lot of MOBAs that recently came out. You might even stretch and say gigantic. It's going to outlive those games, and it's going to outlive like basically all the other MOBAs that have come out previously. Battlerite kind of missed the MOBA wave, but maybe that's a good thing because it's not quite a MOBA, and it's trying to do something different, and it's actually more of a brawler. It's on that brawler wave. So we saw a couple games come out that are like that. Like I said, Absolver, you could probably consider it like that. For Honor, you know, so these like, it's sort of like these team-based 3D fighter games. So Battlerite, though, takes a lot of inspiration from MOBAs, and specifically, though, Battlerite is the spiritual successor to, well, I mean, it's like a literal successor because it's made from the same guys of Bloodline Champions. It's a little bit of a different game. Now, if my memory serves correctly, I only played that game once. I logged in and logged off because at the time I was completely biased against MOBAs, period. It's like, oh, it's top down. Fuck this game. Okay. I never really played the previous version. It also looked dated instantaneously, but so did League of Legends. So Battlerite's coming out when I've never really played games like Battlerite. Or at least whenever it was announced. Since it was announced, I've actually played a lot of games that are like Battlerite, and I've come to find that games that don't seem like Battlerite, like top-down, actually are. Like I said, For Honor, Absolver actually have a lot of similarities with Battlerite. But yeah, I played this game called like Secret Ponchos, which is like directly very similar to Battlerite, which died. A bunch of other games too that are essentially no names. Like, you're not going to know the names. Nobody knows the name. Nobody remembers them. They have 0 players online, and yet I played them because I was excited for games like this. You know, I played For Honor, I played Absolver, pre-ordered all those games, and I'm super excited. Like, this is my bias, guys. Sort of kind of spitting at the mouth here for a game like Battlerite. So now you know, it's a competitive game, and it's a competitive MOBA fighter game. It plays more like a fighting game in a lot of ways. And also, Skylent is really hyped about this game. Coming off of that, my hype did not crash, and I'm so thankful. It was about to. I have to be completely honest. I was streaming it before launch, before it went free to play, because I actually had the Founders Pack. And I was so ready to kind of just poop on this game because they weren't adding enough characters. Like, it was in development for a long time, guys. Long enough for me to be inspired by Battlerite to play all these other games. So it took a little bit for this game to kind of get rolling and finally launch as free to play. And I still think it's lacking maps, and I still think it's lacking game modes. But aside from that, if we just focus this review like everyone else does with their reviews on what this game is trying to focus on and its demographic, I think it totally nails it. I think Battlerite is a really clean looking game. Aesthetically, it's really easy to see what's going on. Generally, I mean, for what the kind of game it is, where all the fucking explosions and, you know, how bombastic everything is, it's actually really clear and concise. You know, all the different abilities. All the abilities have very clear wind-ups, unless it's like you purposely kind of deceive it, throw it in the shadows, and then move the, you know, your claw, or whatever. There's lots of different abilities that you can do weird shit with, but for the most part, everything is clear, in your face, you know, unless obviously there's invisibility or you throw something out of sight. So it's a very competitive game, and every single skill in this game takes like skill. But of course, what is the definition of skill? It's very mechanical based. Battlerite does lack what true MOBAs lack, and that's going to be like itemization. You do have builds in the game, but they took away the RPG elements. They're battle rights, and now you just have traits that you pick at the beginning of the match. So you just have that. There's a little bit of customization. It's kind of soft customization. It's cool. It's neat. I like it. I kind of wish there was a little bit more, but in the end, it's nice. It's good. Okay, so just a real quick note. This is a free-to-play game, and it does have a unique monetization scheme that seems wholly fair. Now, remember, this is a game that you really kind of main just one character or a few, so the fact that you unlock characters, that doesn't seem so bad. Now, I can't really judge how grindy that is, so I'm going to need you guys' help in the comments below, because I have a Founders Pack, so I just have all the characters and everything, but it seems like a fair price. You get all the future characters. There are some cosmetics that seem overly priced, but overall, the cash shop just offers, you know, like loot boxes and stuff like that, or you could just outright, you know, get some currency so that you can get some costumes. All in all, I think the game gives you a lot of currency and costumes pretty fairly, but hey, again, I have a Founders, so a little bit of a bias there, I mean, because I'm just given tons of stuff. So let me know in the comments below, please, and thank you. But all in all, I can say that the game is not pay to win. It's better than fighting games where they don't have any customization, but at the same time, it is lesser to MOBAs. You're not going to have that strategic element. In Battlerite, it's really not about picks and bans generally. Like, you don't even have bans in this game. So again, from that competitive standpoint, this does not have bans. Should it have bans? Maybe, I don't know. But it's not a MOBA like you might think. League of Legends, comparing it directly, is still a fast-paced MOBA. It has all these features, it has all this content that you can play, and it is still a mechanical game, but it's also strategic and tactical, where Battlerite kind of, in some ways, yes, it is more mechanical, generally, more often than not, because characters just have more abilities, and a lot of those abilities can combo in with each other, but overall, Battlerite is completely lacking items. So if you're going into this thinking that you're going to have just like, you know, every match is going to be different and it's not going to get old and tired, I don't know about that. I think that really Battlerite's kind of appeal is focused on mechanical mastery. So it's going to be memorization of timings, it's going to be aim-based, it's going to be really more of that fighting game mechanics. At the same time, I just want you guys to know, like, that's cool, that's great, but for some players it's not. So my opinion on it is I do wish that Battlerite had more interesting gimmicks with the traits, and I kind of wish some abilities in Battlerite were more unique. Now, there's some characters like Thorn, which are extremely fun. Like, most of the gameplay you're going to be watching is going to be of Thorn. I think he is just the epitome of what Battlerite does awesome. There's a few other characters that really do good stuff too. But Thorn is super fun. You can do true combos where you basically do 3 abilities at the same time. But normally Battlerite, you don't do that, actually. You might have one ability that combos with another ability. But for the most part, Battlerite, honestly, is actually kind of a slower game. Like I said, every ability has a wind-up, every ability is a skill shot, and every ability kind of has to travel through the air, and it takes time. And everyone has time to react to that. Everyone has time to dodge it. And so because it has that sort of experience there, it's very reminiscent of For Honor. And we've seen what high-end For Honor gameplay is, right? Where basically everyone can block or dodge everything, so whoever makes a proactive move is essentially, you know, worse off for it. And that kind of makes gameplay a little bit cheesy, and so I'm seeing a little bit of that in Battlerite. It's kind of hard to be proactive in Battlerite unless you're really tricky and sneaky, but it is more of a team game, so you do have people that can more like set up skills, you can kind of jump in, and once somebody, unlike For Honor, once somebody does burn a dodge, that's a cooldown. So yes, even though they could dodge something, you know, in 1v1 it gets cheesy, this is meant as a 3v3 game, and that's the saving grace. So even though you don't have these big individual combos, like you're just going to lock somebody, you know, you're not going to juggle somebody in the air nonstop, though there is literally a character that can juggle in this game. But aside from that, you're not going to just 1v1 somebody consistently and easily just because you memorize some combos. Though you do have to memorize and learn your characters in this game, you absolutely do, but it's not quite like that. It's more about working as a team and with that team cooperation. Still though, as a counterpoint, even though that is like the fun aspect of Battlerite, I have to say that the map design doesn't really enhance that experience. So you have stuff like in League of Legends, the map design is very unique, very different. It can make fights asymmetrical depending on where you are having the fight, and you can do some really tactical shit on there, can you not? But in Battlerite, the maps are gladiatorial, and there are different maps, but they generally play very similar. There is one other game mode that is more MOBA-like, and it even has bushes, but in the end, that's a really cheesy game mode, and that's just kind of a for fun thing. But the main game mode, like every map, is very similar, and I don't think that's really helping the repetitious nature of the game. You don't have lots of different builds to play with in this game. You don't even have that many characters, and the characters that you do play with individually, like I said, there's not many single, like you don't just, you know, combo through all of your abilities. You don't have these giant air juggles or anything you're going to do with these characters. You're going to have like at most 3 abilities you do at the same time, and they all combo together, and then you have massive cooldowns. So there is a lot of downtime actually for a game that plays so fast, you know, 2-minute rounds. There's actually a lot of downtime. A lot of skills are actually very slow, and the gameplay can be frustrating. So if you're just playing 2v2s or just trying to do 1v1s, and if you're just spamming Battlerite as a whole, I do think that it does have like a limit actually on how much fun you can get unless you are a competitive-minded individual. Unless you are truly competitive at Battlerite, I don't think that this is a game for you if you're just jumping in casually. It doesn't have fun casual game modes. It does have one. I don't think it's good enough, frankly. But overall, it's a cool game to try and play for a little bit. And I think you can probably get a dozen hours of this and have a great time. Absolutely. You don't need to play free-to-play games consistently to have, you know, your money's worth. You can jump into this game, buy the character packs, play all the characters a couple of different times, find some ones you like, you know, try out the ranked ladder, and then that's it. You're good. You can have, you know, 22 hours, 10 hours. You can get your money's worth and you can have fun. But I think for Battlerite to really survive and to really keep its momentum, which it has momentum, it's going to need to keep adding in new maps. It's going to need to keep changing around some characters. Like, for instance, I guess I would say that there's some characters that are just straight bad. Like, they're just not good characters, and they have too many similar abilities to other characters, and I just think they need to be reworked. So yeah, let's rework some older characters. Let's keep reworking maps. Let's keep updating the game and changing the game and evolving the game, because that's why people play these kind of games in the first place. We want new characters, new maps, new designs, new gimmicks, and definitely focus on the trait system, because that's actually the newest system in Battlerite. You go into a game, you can kind of select, you know, maybe attack either slows or does more damage. Maybe a different attack, it's going to heal you, or it's going to snare, you know, someone instead. So yeah, it's kind of cool that you can kind of choose that, and you can kind of have a little bit of a playability, like depending on who you're fighting. If someone's more ranged and they're more mobile, you might want that lockdown instead of focusing on healing or something like that. So that's cool. I like the concept there, but it's a big departure from what we had previously with the Battlerite system. Just a little history for you guys. Every round you would pick one card, and then that card would modify your character. So you had like a build order kind of actually as you played the game. They totally did away with that, and I think that this system isn't quite mature enough. But even then, after saying all that, this was more of a harsh look at Battlerite, and if you've seen my other reviews, you know how harsh and toxic I can be. But if that's all the negatives I have of Battlerite, the truth is what it focuses at doing and what it's doing is great. It does target a specific audience though, and in my opinion, I think they should broaden that audience, and at the same time, at the highest skill ceiling of Battlerite, I think that, you know, looking at games, similar games, even though they haven't been tragically not very successful, they have not been very good, I think that Battlerite should learn from them, like For Honor and, you know, just a bunch of other games and their previous game, and realize that we're going to need just a little bit more with the traits, and the skills of certain characters really need to be tuned or completely changed because they're just kind of similar. So let's keep getting some really gimmicky characters like Thorn. Thorn is super gimmicky. I think Pestilus is really fun. Also Pearl, really, really fun. Jade's also really cool. She's like definitely like one of the earlier. Oh, Ashka. Ashka is hella fun. But there's all these different characters that are really cool and gimmicky, but then like for every cool character, there's kind of one other character that really seems like kind of inspired from some other games, and it just seems like not as much of what should be an inspiration to other games. Like Thorn, I think Thorn is in my top 10 MOBA characters of all time, and probably higher seated up there. So Battlerite has the potential. It's just some characters, some instances, some traits, some maps, it just kind of lacks that extra little bit that it needs to really top the charts here. And at the moment, it's doing good, but to keep that momentum, I think we're going to need those consistent updates. But of course, that's going to be true for any free-to-play competitive game. So let's keep that hype alive, guys. Am I having fun with Battlerite? Do I give it my Skylent seal of approval? I absolutely do. I just spit this out, no script, no stopping actually, no editing. So now you know how I really feel, and hopefully the gameplay will show you what it's actually really like to play Battlerite. And closing, I just want to say, I didn't mention anything about the polish, I didn't mention anything about the netcode, I didn't mention anything about glitches, bugs, or overall, like, the game feel, because it's just solid. It really just works. If you watch my For Honor video, my Black Desert Online video, even my Reflex Arena video, you guys know that when I review things, I normally talk about that, but with Battlerite, I just didn't even need to. The game pretty much feels good. I can probably only say that it is kind of annoying that there is actually a little bit of an input buffer. So if you do an ability and then you get stunned, sometimes that ability will come out even though you don't press the key again. I think that can be fixed. I don't think that's a network error. I think that's just kind of the way it's built in. Most fighting games honestly do that. So watch your control, guys, whenever you're playing Battlerite. I think you can learn to play around it. And really, I'm just kind of stretching for nitpicks here. I think Battlerite's a pretty solid game. Please check it out. And that's really all I gotta say. I threw all the words out there. Now it's your turn to share with me and us in the comments below, fam. Thanks for watching. And if you choose to play or not, either way, whatever you're playing, I hope you're having fun. My name's Skylent, and I'll see you in the next one.